my website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. I have a nice little exercise for you for once. I hate exercises because my philosophy of practicing, I rather do something that I can actually use, practice a skill, than do some kind of mindless exercise with, movements that I'm never going to use. So what is this about? Well, it's about, getting stamina in your hand, because when you practice or, even play, you might get tired in your hands. This is a very common problem, and it has 2 points to it, this video. First of all, it's going to disappear over time. When you get better, and you let me just give you an example from my own life. I used to practice a lot for a couple of years during high school. I did my homework, to the point where I had to, and I went to school, but then every other hour was spent practicing almost. At least for some periods of time during that period. But then after those 2 years, I had those skills, but I had to focus on them. I had to use effort and concentration to make that picking happen, to make all of these things happen. But it wasn't until another 2 years passed that I had that kind of effortlessness that I really wanted. And that is, first learning the skill to the point you want it, and then as time goes by, the brain gets better and better at using fewer and fewer resources, making it happen. So it replaces power, muscle power, with precision and accuracy. So instead of, being a little bit inaccurate when you play a note, because maybe you place your finger in the middle, in between the 2 frets, and that will require you to push a little bit more down on the string to get that sound or that note out. But instead of that, I started playing more and more accurately, unconsciously basically. So I had to use fewer and fewer resources making it happen. So that's the equation here. When you don't have accuracy, then you have to use a little bit more power, and that makes you tired in the hands. So, so what can you do with that? Not much, right? But it can give you hope that someday you'll reach that point where it's no longer a problem, this fatigue. And it won't be because you have stronger hands. It'll be because you are more elegant, because you have more accuracy. So, but what can we do right now? And I looked into this, and the funny thing is that I find the same, sorry to say, but idiotic advice everywhere, that here are some exercises you can do. But why should I do I can just play to get, because those exercises of, going whatever, you're doing that, and then whatever it is, are just going to do the same thing as when I play. It's going to make my hands tired. So why not just play and make my hands tired instead of doing exercises that are going to do the same thing? And it's because we don't know how the body really works. So here it is. Some years ago, I discovered something, I was really surprised, wasn't more common knowledge, that if I want stamina, if I want to be able to run faster, then instead of trying to run faster, which is the most intuitive way of going about it, right? Instead of trying to do that, I would sprint. Instead of trying to, I wanted to be able to run faster and longer, but instead of doing that, I did the opposite. I sprinted for just a short period of time. So I took just 10 minutes or 15 minutes of running where I was walking, and then I would run as fast as I possibly could, like the limit of what I could do for as long as I could, and then walk again. And then I would sprint like back and forth between that. And the same thing I did with when I was, doing fitness. Instead of, doing these little exercises and, up and down, 12 of these and 3 reps, it took forever to do that. I just took three exercises like bench pressing, whatever, and then I put on the weight, right? And I only moved several other little distinctions you need there in order to do that. But then I really put on some weight And the most amazing thing was that when I then, took all the weight off and took the weight I used to have on the bar, and then I did the same thing again, I could do like 2-3 times the number of times. So it was like counterintuitive. So by sprinting, by putting it on hard, by, decreasing the amount of time and increasing the amount of weight or, resistance I put on myself by sprinting, then the running over long period, it was just getting like, or the lifting, how is this, what's going on here, right? So when it comes down to guitar practicing, what you need to do is, instead of doing these exercises that's just going to make you tired in your hands, you need to sprint. You need to put on an, disproportionate amount of weight to your fingers. It's like 10 times what you're used to. So the brain just goes, oh, we need to grow here. We need to get stronger. So it works in the most amazing way. So do this. The first exercise is that you take your fingers and you place them in between the strings, all 4 of them, all right? And so you're not pressing down on a string, because that's going to mess up your fingertips when you push this hard. So you put them in between the 2 middle strings here, for instance. And then you grab the neck like this, just like you would hold it, right? Completely. And then you push with your fingers towards the fretboard and count to 10. But you push with every ounce in you, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's an unbelievable amount of stress on your fingers. And my brain right now is going, what's happening? Do we need to push that hard? And then it starts sending signals to, growth hormone. We need to build some muscle. We need to get stronger in this area. Now the thing happens that we want to have happen, right? The second exercise is to take your thumb, because basically I have 2 playing positions. I have one for phrasing, where I really grab the neck like this, and then I have another where I'm playing for precision, for that faster legato work, and I do a classical position there where I place my thumb in the middle of the neck. And so you want to do that as well. You take, you do the same thing, in between the strings in the middle of, and then you take your thumb, place it in the middle of the neck, but not like this. Don't, it has to be bent a little bit, because when it's like this, when you're holding the neck like this, the muscles will do the work. If you do it like this, then the muscles will do no work. Your bones will do the work, and that will, certainly injure you. So bend it like this, so you have this kind of feeling in the hand. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and press as hard as you can, right? And just do this, a couple of times each day. And I promise, and I really mean that. Don't overdo this. This is the trick. This takes no time. So don't overdo it, and give your brain enough room and space and time to build those muscles. If you do this like 3 times a day, with distance in between, like say you do, 3 times 10 seconds with a good little break in between. So you use 60, 70, 1.5 minute doing this just once a day. That will make a huge difference, because then when you start with this, the other challenges, it's really going to seem like, just after you've done this, just right after you've done this, playing will seem like it's much easier, because you've just put that amount of weight on your fingers, that amount of stress. So this really works, but please don't overdo it. This is not like repetition is going to make it even better. You need a lot of space. You need a high intensity, and then, a lot of space in between for your brain to build the muscles. And then high intensity again, and then a lot of space in between. So experiment with it. 1 time a day, 3 times, 3 times with a little break in between, a couple of times a day, or just once a day, or maybe 3 times a day. But experiment with it and really be very focused on what's happening here. Am I getting stronger? Does it feel like it's too much or too little? Could I do a little more? And then try this out for a couple of weeks before you pass judgment on it. And I can assure you, you will start to experience a whole new level of stamina in your left hand. So it really works like magic. So try it out. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.